Okay, this bracket can be made basically with two extrusions. One is kind of triangular shape, and the other is handle. Okay, and this triangular shape will be on the horizontal plane, and this handle will be in the vertical orientation. This part is an inch unit. We have trailing 0 and we have no leading 0 here, so it's an inch unit. So let's create a new document, part document, and make sure it is an inch IPS, so that's an inch system. And we'll use the top plane as my first sketching plane, and here we'll draw this shape, but we need to only draw half of it, and we'll mirror that. So we will need a center line to draw, and so we have to determine where my sketch origin should be. You can locate it any place, but let's just put it on the center of the hole. So we'll start drawing a line from here. We have a vertical line and we have an arc, so we move our cursor to the end point of the previous line. It becomes an arc, and another line, but we go back to the end point of the previous arc. It becomes an arc. So you can make that, and again come back, make another arc, and ends there. And then we have to add the proper constraints, and one of the constraints is the center point of this arc. We want them to be coincident with the origin, sketch origin. So we select them together with control keys and make them coincident. And what we know from here is the radius of this arc is 0.75, and it has a 3x. That means this arc, that arc, and that arc, all three arcs share the same radius, 0.75. So we add a diameter, sorry, the radius 0.75, and we need to add the constraint, geometry constraint, selecting this while pressing the control key, select the other arc and make them equal constraint. And what else do we know? We know the radius of this arc is 2 inches, so we add a radius that needs to be 2 inches. Alright, and then what the dimension between the center of these arcs, or two holes, will be 2 inches. So here we add a dimension here, this point, but we don't have the other point, but we can still select the center line, because one of the selections is center line. If you move my cursor the other side of the center line, it will be the symmetric distance. That was 2 inches, so we got back 2 inches here. And another dimension we need to specify is 3.25 dimension. That's from the left side to the tip of this arc. So we select the vertical line and select that endpoint there, and that will be 3.25. So that one is fully constrained, and we need to mirror entities and select the entities to mirror, and mirror about is the horizontal center line, and that will mirror. See that suddenly this line used to be black but now it becomes blue. For some reason this horizontal dimension disappeared. That disappeared because earlier we selected this vertical line and the end point of that arc, but now as they become mirrored, that point disappeared. They are merged. We have to add that back again, but this time we don't have any point in here to select. Okay, so if you select this arc, by default it'll give the distance to the center of it. Okay, so we'll just add that dimension. Okay, and we need to modify that dimension, so select that dimension, and on this property of that dimension there's a tab called leaders, and at the bottom of the leaders is an arc condition, and we have center. We can set the minimum, we can set the maximum of the dimension. So what we want is the maximum, so that is the dimension we want, and that's 3.25. That's correct. And now we have the all sketched entities fully constrained again. At this point you may or may not add a circle here to make the three holes, these three holes, or you can make them later as separate feature, but just create that in here. So let's create 3 circles, and they have to share all same diameter, 3x. That means the 3 holes share the same diameter, and which is ½ inch. So we either add the diameter ½ inch. You have to select 3 circles together while pressing the control key, and equal, make them equal size, and now we have all sketch fully constrained and all black color. Now we need to extrude it by ½ inch. So we extrude ½ inch, and you have to notice where it's extruded upward or downward. So you have to notice that, so that when you create this handle portion of the geometry, you draw that properly. So that goes up. Now the front plane will run in the middle. That's the sketching plane for sketching the handle, and create an extrusion on that, and let's look at normal to it. Now we need to draw this profile of this handle. Okay, and right here it looks like the arc is tangentially made with the top line here, but we don't know exactly where that is tangent, but all other geometry and dimension should determine that location. So let's start drawing it. So let's draw a line, start drawing a line somewhere here, start from there and come here, make sure it is horizontal line, and again we need to draw an arc, so come back to the end point, pull it out, becomes an arc, again come back to the end point, pull it out, becomes an arc, and it draw the top, and we will want to connect it by a line, but that line has to be vertical line, and we'll make sure that this arc and top line has to be tangentially connected. It looks like they're tangent, but you don't see that tangency constraint symbol here, as in here. There's a tangency here, so we're sure that they are all tangentially connected, but here we don't see that symbol. So this is a typical mistakes. It looks like it's tangent, so you think that they're tangent, but you have to explicitly add that tangency constraint. So select those two entities, one arc and the other is the top line of the top edge of this body, and make them tangent. And we need to add some dimensions. So here, one thing, let's add the radius first. So this radius here is 5 inches, and radius is 1 of that. So let's add radius here. That's 1 inch, and this radius here is 5 inches. Okay, and there's another dimension here. That will be the 5-inch dimension from the center of this arc to the center of the hole that is hidden. Okay, but we have to see the hidden hole here. It's not visible, so just move this away from now. So hole should be somewhere here, but you cannot see. So in that case, we have to change the view style to hidden line visible. Then you have the hole in here. And remember that we made sure that the hole center is on the sketch origin. It's right here. But if you want to make sure that, you can also show the temporary axis. So that's where your axis of the hole is. And this axis is the center of the outer cylinder. And that's the center of, this one is the center of the hole. So we need to add a dimension between the center of this arc. You can select the arc and the center of this hole, and that should be 5. That will fully constrain this geometry. Okay, so we don't, even if you don't know where that actually meet tangentially the top, but with all other geometry conditions and dimensions will fully determine the shape. So now we need to add extrusion. The preview currently shows as wireframe. That's because we changed our view style to wireframe, so we changed back to that. And we want that to be a mid-plane option so that it's extruded in both sides. And the last thing that's left is the hole in here. So I will use the Extrude Cut, select this surface there as sketching plane, and select the circle, move your cursor on the arc, and that pops up the center point. Make sure that center point is at the center point of this outer arc, and the diameter of that arc is 0.875. Say OK, and you want to make them through all cut. Right. Then lastly, you want to hide the axis, and I'm going to show it. That's